Chapter 1900 Infiltration Plan. After listening to Yang Xinxin's words, Zhang Yi rubbed his hands. If you interpret it this way, there are too many possibilities. What does this have to do with our trip to KG country? Yang Xinxin smiled. Brother, this hexagram has 3 types of images and texts. After reading the images and prophecies, and then combining them with the text, you can understand what it really means. Zhang Yi's gaze fell on the eulogy at the back. There was a soldier with a bow on his body, who said, "I am a white-headed old man. A golden sword is hidden in the east gate, and the warrior enters the imperial palace through the back door." This passage seems easy to understand, literally. Just one soldier broke into the imperial palace, and it seemed that he wanted to assassinate the emperor. Yang Xinxin pointed at the prophecy above and the eulogy below. If you look at just one of them, you can't be sure. But if you look at both together, it becomes very clear. 10,000 people die, but one person cannot escape. A golden sword is hidden in the east gate, and the warrior enters the imperial palace through the back door. She stared at Zhang Yi and said in a deep voice, "According to the hexagram, we may have a conflict with Commander Shan when we go to KG country. We may even kill him. This is a highly probable event. He may not let us take the spear of Longinus so easily, so a conflict is inevitable." Deng Shintong frowned. But if that's the case, it will be a big problem. After all, KG is an independent sovereign country with tens of millions of people. Commander Shan is the head of KG. If he is killed, it will inevitably have a negative international impact. After this start, other countries' attitudes towards us will become very subtle. A fierce light flashed in his eyes. No wonder Olib came all the way to find you and ask you to do this. Of course Zhang Yi knew about this kind of thing. However, he planned to secretly investigate the location of the spear of Longinus and steal it. His spatial ability allows him to pass through walls and rooms, so it is very easy for him to steal something. But if he needs to fight Commander Ken Shan, that would be the worst outcome. He occupies the advantageous geographical location, has the blessing of the power of faith in the country of Cage, and more than 20 million crazy believers, which will inevitably make Commander Shan extremely powerful. Even the him today is not sure he can defeat it. Zhang Yi looked at Yang Xinxin and asked, "Xinxin, are you sure about your interpretation? Why do you have to choose me? Is it possible that you're referring to someone else? For example, the aliens from other regions of Huashu country. Look, didn't Xiao Lai chase Li Changgong away before? Li Changgong, he should be the man with the bow and the hexagram, right?" Yang Xinxin shook her head. "Brother, the man with the bow is the one who broke into the palace, not the emperor. Don't forget, there is a bow in your name. If we separate the Zhang Yi into 2 parts, it becomes, which does have a bow character." Zhang Yi supported his chin with his hands crossed. Zhou Qir said softly beside him, "If something like that happens, it might cause us some minor trouble, involving in the internal affairs of other forces and killing the leader of a great power. This kind of thing is very frightening." Yang Xinxin didn't continue talking. Only he and Zhang Yi knew about the mark of the evil eye on their bodies. So she understood that they had to go on this operation for their own sake. No matter what, we all have to participate in this operation. Zhang Yi did not change his decision because of the prophecy. If we really need to do that, it means that we can definitely do it according to the arrangement of the superiors. He must get Ling's human body. Zhang Yi has already made a decision, and naturally others will have opinions. We should seize the time, investigate the intelligence as needed, and prepare the supplies as needed. The interior of the fortress is usually fully prepared for war, so special preparations are required. Zhang Yi just said hello to Zhu Jing out of convention, and then took the Fortress of the Sea and everyone to Europe. Blizzard City, Command Center Building. After Zhu Jing ended the call, he sat in his office chair and rubbed his brows hard. Today's Shihai City is increasingly separated from Blizzard City, and the status of the 2 sides has completely reversed. The reason why Zhang Yi set up a region was simply because he was too lazy to get involved in the affairs of other places. But for Zhu Jing, this feeling is not good. Even the Deng family has completely sided with Zhang Yi. Deng Yuanba stayed in Blizzard City to run the big camp, while the new generation of Deng Shintong was in High City. This family is betting on both sides, which is really cunning and shameless to the old guys. Zhu Yu, my daughter. An 8-year-old girl, her mind is full of curiosity about the world. She said, "The world is so big, I want to go see it." Soon after Zhang Yi and his companions set out, they arrived directly at the Roman city-state and met Olib, who was waiting there. At the same time, Odin and others were also seen. Although the scene before them was not as spectacular as the expedition to Fremons, all the warriors here were world-class masters. The Knights of the Round Table would naturally not come, because King Arthur was an open member of the Order of the Holy See and had a bad relationship with the Holy See. Only, didn't Columbia send anyone over? Zhang Yi asked curiously. Colombia is also a country where the Junjing sect is widely spread. Logically speaking, they cannot be absent from such an event. Olibu said to Zhang Yi, "Something happened to their people over there, and he will arrive later. Don't worry, he won't waste time when you get the Spear of Longinus." Zhang Yi nodded. "That's fine." His eyes fell on the black man wearing luxurious animal skins, with a curious look on his face. "I went to Fremons before, and never saw him." Olibu introduced Zhang Yi. "This is the chief of the African Ao family and the great shaman. We want to enter the Devil's Eye, and we need their help." He lowered his voice and said to Zhang Yi mysteriously, "The Ao family had contact with underground civilization creatures in Africa in the last century. We suspect that they were the demon followers from the Devil's Eye." Zhang Yi looked surprised. Last century? At that time, aliens had not yet appeared on a large scale. The so-called Devil's followers, can these African natives fight against them? However, Olibu did not explain too much. This was the secret of the Ao family, and it was not appropriate to tell Zhang Yi in front of Odibio. On the contrary, it was Odibio who came over with a gloomy face after seeing Zhang Yi xiao. "Are you from the Eastern Chaos?" Zhang Yi nodded. "Yes, Your Excellency." Odibio, "I am the chief of the O family and the great shaman. But you don't have to be too polite with me, just call me by my name. My name is Aduomiwir Winanail Chawenwi Wovenmiwa Sabiao." Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi, hello, shaman. Later, after the two of them talked for a while, Zhang Yi began to call the other person by his name, Odibio. Odibio looked like someone who was not easy to mess with. Shamanism itself was extremely mysterious and ordinary people avoided it. However, after some communication, I found that this person has a very straightforward personality. He also expressed his interest in the many strange arts of the mysterious Eastern country and hoped to exchange ideas when he had time. I came here as promised this time, to find out how to sneak into KG country, get close to Commander Kenshan, and quietly get the Spear of Longinus. This is a difficult problem. Zhang Yi looked at Olib. "Mr. Olib, you and I came here. You don't have any plans, right?" Olib said, "Of course, we have made a complete plan. This matter has to start with Xian Haixio. Kenshan had spent many years doing business in Guangdong, Huaxi State, and he considered those years his glorious years. Therefore, after becoming the commander-in-chief of KG State, he particularly missed the Cantonese cuisine of Huaxi State. Xian Haixio was able to enter Kenshan's eyes not only because he had a beautiful wife, but also because he cooked delicious Cantonese cuisine. Now, Xian Haixio defected, and Commander Saiyan lacks a good Cantonese chef. Alib's suggestion to Zhang Yi was to disguise himself as a Cantonese chef and get close to Kenshan. After listening to this, Zhang Yi thought about the feasibility of this idea for a while. It's not hard to disguise yourself as a chef. Mu Yan brought Yang Xia to the different space. With her cooking skills, she was sure to satisfy Kenshan's appetite. After all, this is the old world. In a poor and backward place like Africa, even the commander-in-chief can't eat very good food. Yang Xia grabbed his hand and pinched him. Yes, the question is how to approach it. If you apply for a chef job intentionally, you will definitely be suspected. Oliba smiled and said, "We have already thought of this problem. In KG country, The commander's orders are everything. Even if it's just him using toilet paper when he goes to the toilet, it's the top priority of the country. If he just said he wanted to eat Cantonese food, I wonder how many people would rack their brains to find a professional chef for him. If it weren't for the conditions, I think they could even go to the Jiangnan region of Huashu country and kidnap a Cantonese chef back. Our plan is that you'll go to Hopu City, the border between Keiji Kingdom and Khotan Empire. There you will enter an international hotel as a Cantonese chef. We will spread your reputation and make up a reasonable identity for you. When the time comes, the Keiji people will contact you. They won't miss this opportunity to please Commander Shaun. Zhang Yi nodded. It was indeed a good plan. Yes, what about after entering Keiji country?
I don't know anything about that place.
After going there, I was like a headless fly. Forget about finding the spear of Longinus. It's good enough to be able to find the way out. Olib said, You can bring your fellow countrymen. As he spoke, he clapped his hands. From the back of the room, 2 clergymen walked in with a haggard young man. Olib pointed at him and said, He is Xian Haixio, a defector from Keiji. You can take him with you. He has been in Keiji for 3 years and has been the chef of Commander Shaun. No one knows Keiji better than him. Xian Haixio raised his head. His weathered face looked lifeless like a zombie, making Zhang Yi suspect that he had just been pulled out of the coffin. Seeing Zhang Yi's familiar Asian face, Xian Haixio's eyes gradually brightened. Are you from Huashu? Did our motherland send you to save us? He rushed to Zhang Yi, trying to grab Zhang Yi like a drowning man grabbing a life-saving straw. Zhang Yi could only step back a few steps to avoid him. He glanced at Olib, who said, His wife has been taken away, and her life or death is unknown. Then Olib said to Xian Haixio, This person is a world-famous strong man. He is also your compatriot from Huashu country. This time, as long as you fully assist us, we can help you rescue your wife and send you to wherever you want to go. Zhang Yi crossed his arms and looked at Xian Haixio carefully. This person is very useful. Not only a great guide, but also a great guide. Zhang Yi used the name of saving his compatriots to work openly in Keiji. Now, there is another problem, a very serious problem. How strong is Kenshan? If the other party's strength is limited, Zhang Yi will directly use the simplest method to force the other party to hand over the things. Olib said, The Junjing Church has never fought a war with them, so it is difficult to make a clear judgment. However, he turned his head to look to the side, where the Emperor Saladin of the Khotun Empire and the God King of Asgard, Odin, the Lord of the 9 Realms, sat. They may know. Africa is close to the equator and is the warmest region. After the 19th century, many Nordic countries had the idea of immigrating to Africa because they could not stand the severe cold weather. Now, in a large part of Africa, there are new enclave cities built by European countries. But when they arrived in Keiji country, they encountered strong resistance. Saladin looked at Zhang Yi and said, The army of the Khotun Empire has set foot on this land before, but to no avail. It is difficult for us to defeat Kenshan here. Odin also said, Although I didn't take action myself, the 2 Asgardian class Inhumans who led the team here were both severely injured. 1 Black Chariot class Inhuman died, and a large number of soldiers died tragically. After hearing this, Zhang Yi had basically made a judgment in his mind. The power of faith is the power to unite people's hearts and gather many intelligent life forms, spirits, together. Therefore, Kensane may be difficult to defeat in this land. Otherwise, how could he stop so many European powers from moving south? Zhang Yi probably had a number in mind. The population of the southwest region at that time was only 1 million, and the Undertaker, relying on his years of accumulated tantric faith, was able to compete with the bishop-level King Nash at the level of the Black Chariot. At this time, Commander Kenshan might have reached an unimaginable level. He thought of what Yang Xinshin said about the Tue Bei 2 hexagram and couldn't help thinking, it would be best if nothing happened. All actions are arranged by the Junjing Church and the Khotan Empire. The location is Hopu City. Zhang Yi specially called Xian Haixio over and asked Yang Xinshin to shoot him with an arrow, and then he knew what happened. He didn't have much to say about their fate. After his death, he had experienced things that were more difficult to accept than this. In the face of the vast and overwhelming situation, people are extremely vulnerable. One day later, a new chef came to the largest international hotel in Hopu City. It is said that he is good at cooking Chinese cuisine, especially Huaiyang cuisine. This is to create Zhang Yi's personality. If he happens to be good at cooking Cantonese food, it will easily arouse suspicion. At this time, his appearance had changed, and Zhou Er took action, moving the facial muscles and bones very simply, making him look like an ordinary young man with an unremarkable appearance. He was in the hotel kitchen, wearing a white chef's uniform, frying, stir-frying, and cooking. He didn't know how to do anything. The food was prepared by Yang Xia, and he only had to take it out from the shadow space when needed. Just as they expected, in less than half a month, the fish took the bait. Several black people who were obviously from KG country came to the hotel and ordered a few dishes that were not on the menu, all of which were Cantonese dishes. When these people appeared, their identities had been investigated and they were found to be subordinates of a senior official of the KG state. When Xian Haixio saw them ordering dishes, he immediately said to Zhang Yi, "These are Kenshan's favorite dishes. They are testing your cooking skills." "I know." Zhang Yi was not in a hurry because he was not required to do it. After Yang Xia prepared the dishes, he asked someone to serve them. That day, those people finished their meal and left without saying anything. Zhang Yi is very confident that they will come again. Sure enough, the next day, people from KG came again. However, the person who came this time was not the two agents from yesterday, but a middle-aged man dressed in extraordinary clothes.